So our goal here tonight is to make sure you walk away understanding fully what is property tax assessment and why. And then second, how do I go about appealing my property taxes? When is a good time to do that? And what are the case scenarios that I would use to effectively appeal my property taxes? My name is Tiffany Smith, and I am with Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago, and we, in partnership with Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation, wanted to make sure that we brought this resource to the community. I am also, along with Linda Johnson, who is standing by the door, co-chairs of our housing task force as part of the Quality of Life Plan. So we are here to serve. And before we get down to the real learning, I want to remind you that we are less than 2 weeks away from our 19th annual 79th Street Renaissance Festival. So we hope to see you there. And we hope to see you in our housing resource tent, where there will be even more resources brought to the community for you. So, to get us started this evening, I am going to introduce the Cook County Assessor's Office, and they are going to walk us through, because they're going to tag team, they're going to walk us through what exactly goes into the property tax assessment and why. Who's starting? I wasn't sure who's starting. I'm so sorry. All right, so
do we need a mic? Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. Well, well, well. I know you guys are eating, and good evening, everyone. Y'all could do better than that. We're not in church. Good evening, everyone. All right, all right. Here we go. So, my name is Teresa Chandler. My colleagues are with me, George and Gail. They're here to assist. I'm Teresa Chandler, and we're going to get started with our presentation. You want to do it? No, he has it. He has it. Okay, here we go. So I want to thank you all for joining us. You could have been any place else, but you decided to come here and hear some valuable information. We're going to show you a few slides, and then Mario Reed will take over, and then we'll come back, okay? So enjoy this ride while you're eating your food. You're on flight 3456. Let's take off. Now, understanding your reassessment notice, I know that many of you may live in Hyde Park Township. Some of you may live in Lake Township. So that's the township. You may live in Auburn Gresham, or you may live in Inglewood. So if you live in Inglewood, you live in Lake Township. Some of you may live in Auburn Gresham, and you may live in Lake Township. So it's a little different. It's a little complicated. At the very top of your tax bill and your reassessment notice, it informs you that your township is right at the very top, okay? Now, the Cook County Assessor is Fritz Kagi. We don't send you your tax bills. Our office, what we do in our office, we put the value on your home and we provide exemptions. That's it. You can file an appeal with our office, but we put the value on your home. Now, there are 1.9 million parcels throughout Cook County. 1.9, that's residential and industrial, commercial, all throughout this whole Cook County. We put the value on those properties. Now, can we make a mistake? Sure, we all do, right? Can we fix them? Yes, of course, we can. Now, our office, we administer property tax savings exemptions. We'll talk about those exemptions a little bit later, which is very important for each and every one of you who owns a home, or if you know someone who owns a home. The tax rates and your levies, they're not set by us. They're set by your municipality and your local taxing bodies. Now, every 3 years, we follow a triennial reassessment. Triennial reassessment. It's like, just remember the word tricycle, okay? Now, this year, you live in the city of Chicago. Everyone live in the city of Chicago? Raise your hand. All right, that's all of you all. Every one of you this year will receive a notice from our office. It's called a reassessment notice, right? But right now, we're just going to play a little short game here. This first two rows right here, you live in the city of Chicago. This row right here, you live in Barrington. You the rich folks. Hey, bougie women. All right. Come on in. We've been waiting on you all. What took y'all so long? Huh? Security. All right. Get on in there then. Have a seat. We're going to wait for them, y'all. We're going to give them time to have a seat. I can hold up. I'm going to hold up until you guys get your little food. Okay? Let me tell you about me. Okay, first of all. All right, here we go. So my name is Teresa Chandler. I work for the Cook County Assessor's Office for 25 years. And so I started as a residential analyst. I worked my way up to a commercial analyst. So buildings like this, right? All commercial properties, industrial properties, I used to read appraisals and things of that nature. So I'm very familiar with all types of properties in Cook County. And actually, I work with Carlos and his wife in actually getting this building together on some pieces. And so they really appreciate me, and I'm like, I feel so loved when I come up in here, okay? So they always thank me every time. I went to school here in Chicago. I have a family. I have 8 brothers. And, yeah, I have 8 of them. That's a lot. My family's from Alabama. All right, beautiful. Here we go. We got some family up here. So we have people all over. Actually, this coming up weekend, you all are welcome to come. Anyone want to come? If you come into Atlanta, come. Get on the flight. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about no food. I'm going to provide you a place to stay. Just go to sleep. Because we're going to have enough. We're going to have enough food. We got all the love you need. Because that's all you need is love, right? Once you say that prayer, that's it. Okay. So we're going to have a good time. We just put a last-minute family togetherness, not a family reunion, but we just said let's get together. 110 people coming. Just for a family get-together. My mom, it was 13 of them. So you know how we be having all them kids. You know, they probably, this time, back in the day, they would call my grandmother something else, but, you know. But anyway, with me is my coworker, Gail. Gail's been with the assessor's office for 24 years. And George, how long? 1 month. And we do have a lot of openings all the time, so feel free to apply, right? We welcome you to come aboard. Let's see, anything else we need to know? Where you from, sir? Tell me where you from.
Linden, Alabama.
Linden, Alabama. All right, where you from?
South side of Chicago.
South side. This is South side. Where you from? Anybody from another state or family? Where you from, dearie?
Oh, Alabama, Linden, same thing.
Uh-oh, she from Alabama. That's how she met that man. I better get on down there then.
I used to live in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, you may be some kin, you guys. We family for real. Chicago.
Chicago,
Chicago.
Lexington, Mississippi.
Mississippi. Any Mississippi in the house?
Greenwood, Mississippi.
Greenwood, Mississippi. Here we go. We're about to get started. Mississippi in the house. Okay. Birmingham, girl. Birmingham. We got some family up here, you all. Tuscaloosa. Okay. Chicago.
Vicksburg, Mississippi.
Vicksburg, Mississippi.
South side of Chicago.
South side.
Mississippi. Kalispell, Mississippi.
Kalispell, Mississippi. South side.
Chicago by way of Itabena, Mississippi.
Itabena, Mississippi. All right.
The Delta, Tutwiler, Mississippi.
Tutwiler, Mississippi. Y'all don't get no better than that one, baby. I know about Tutwiler, baby. They had that prison system down there, too. I know. Where you from, dearie?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Missouri.
Missouri. We got some Missouris. Where you from?
Chicago.
Where you from, dear? Chicago. How about you, little lady? Where you from? She's from Switzerland. Okay. Can we get started? I think yes. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started since we found out where everyone's from. Again, my name is Teresa Chandler. I'm from the Cook County Assessor's Office. My colleague Gail and George is here. So if you have questions on the end, feel free to ask them. Every 3 years, you get a reassessment notice. Every 3 years. Think about a tricycle, right? Right now, Chicago is on that front wheel, right? So everyone in Chicago will receive a reassessment notice. As I was saying, these first 2 tables right here, these are Chicago people. The next 2 tables right here, you guys are rich. You live in Barrington, okay? These are bougie people right here. Right here, you guys right here, you live in Markham and Thornton and all that, right? Okay, now, since every 3 years you'll receive your notice, when does Thornton and Markham receive their notice? What year? Hold on, let them. When you live in Markham and Thornton and all, you live in those townships, in the South Township. When would you receive your notice? When did you receive that notice? Now you live in the South suburbs. You live in the South suburbs. When did you receive your notice? Last year. Last year. How about Barrington people, the North people in Schaumburg? When did you receive yours? And you receive it next year. Got it? How about the city people? This year. Everyone that lives in the city of Chicago will receive a reassessment notice. Got it? Okay. If you have family that lives in the South suburbs, they received their letters last year, right? And they're going to receive another one in 2026, okay? Now, people that lives in the North Township, that's the Barrington Township and all out there, Schaumburg, you all will receive a notice next year. Got it? Now, this is just hypothetically, okay? So, next. So, I know that many of you have not received a notice, right? Is that correct? That's because you probably live in Lake Township, okay? So, if I can get you to get on the computer real quick. So, this is the Hyde Park valuation report, okay? And so, Lake Township report will look similarly to this, right? But it would just have lake values. Right now, we're talking about Hyde Park. Lake is not open yet, so therefore, we do not have your valuation reports ready. But what does a valuation report look like? It looks like this. In Hyde Park, not Hyde Park because of 53rd Street, right? Because everybody think that's the only Hyde Park area. But there's area that's over on 114 in Roseland. That's Hyde Park Township too. Did y'all know that? Okay. So, you all live in the Auburn Gresham community, right? Okay. It's called Lake Township, right? I live in West Englewood. It's called Lake Township too. Okay? It's the way the map is designed, okay? Now, in Hyde Park, the median change is 127,000. The houses are going at 184. The multifamilies are going at 206. Those were the median. It goes from 2020 to 2023. Now, we use a computerized statistical model to do houses. We don't compare one house to just one house. We use models of homes. We use a bunch of homes. Not a single house. We're just going to value your house by itself and value your house. We use a statistical model, okay? And it's called a mass appraisal system, and that's what we use in our office, okay? Now, a lot of people don't agree with it, but this is what we used. Next slide. So, on our website, now I know this is really not probably beneficial for you right now, but on our website, and I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to let Mario speak, and then I'm going to go back and show you some real good stuff, okay? Some things that you can remember and take back home to your friends and your family. So on our website, you can identify your neighborhood code. I'm going to show you where you can find that at. You can click on your neighborhood code and see how many houses are being sold, the sales prices, the top sale prices, and things of that nature. All of that is on our website. We have nothing to hide. Everything is transparent. and I'm going to show you how to find it. You can compare your recent sales to our estimated sales value. Next slide. So, also what we can do, you can access more in-depth your property details. You can look at the characteristics of your home. What is the characteristics? Can someone tell me what is one characteristics? The bedrooms, the number of bedrooms, garage, bathrooms. Right, those are all characteristics. Your exemptions, you can look at your exemption history status, okay? If you have all your exemptions, we're going to talk about exemptions, which is really important, okay? You can talk about an appeal. What is an appeal? That means that you do not agree what the value of the Cook County assessor says your house is worth. Got it? And a lot of people say, I don't agree. But I was just helping a young lady that works in the building, and I was explaining to her that her house was worth $50,000 for the last couple of years. And all of a sudden, we brought it up to $160,000. And she says, but my house, I says, all the time that we had you at $50,000, would you sold it for that much? She says, no, my house is worth $300,000. I says, well, we have you undervalued. Because if we bought your house up and it was only at $50,000 and we have you on at one something, that means we still have you undervalued based on what you believe your house is worth, right? And it's a sticker shock for some people because we bought their value up to value based on the sales that's happening in the area, okay? And this is probably my last slide, and Mario's going to take over. 3 reasons why you may file an appeal. The first one is lack of uniformity. Now, what is lack of uniformity? What is your name, dear? Tangi. What's your name? Martise. Tangi and Martise have the same exact house, 7 blocks away. Tangi's house is worth $250,000. Go ahead, Tangi, girl. Now, Marquise's house is only worth $175,000, right? So, but it's the same house, same developer, same everything. That's lack of uniformity. You got it? Now, you don't go comparing your house to somebody else's tax bill. You compare assessed values, not tax bills. I'm going to give you some websites, and don't go snooping on nobody. Because that's what you all do. And then you take it to church and be talking when the pastor talking. Now, overvaluation. Overvaluation is, what's your name, dear? Minnie. Minnie says that the Cook County Assessor's Office has her house valued at $120,000. And she knows for a fact, she has an appraisal. Her house is only worth $79,000. Got it? That's overvaluation because she has proof that her house is not worth what we says. That's another reason to file an appeal. Overvaluation. The first one was lack of uniformity. The second is overvaluation. Now, the third one is incorrect property description error. This is Skip, right? That's his name. How do I know? We work together sometimes. Now, Skip has a home, and he says that the house is framed, right? But we have the house listed as masonry brick. Got it? We also have the house listed as 4,000 square feet. But it's only 2,500. That's incorrect property description error, okay? Can we correct those things? Certainly, okay? So without further ado, I am supposed to stop here, and I'm going to turn it over. Sure. Yes. Yes. 2-story. Mm-hmm. So now you got 3. Yep. Yes. So yes, for sure. Yes. Well, what happened was you built a 2-story. You have a 2-story home. Now you add another floor, pretty much, right? You add an addition, okay? Now, you added square footage to that home. It could not only bring your value up, but it can change your property classification. Got it? So, yes, Skip?
So, you said we can correct this. How far back can you correct it?
So you can file for an appeal, and that's a great question. You can file for an appeal based on your value, this value. Say, let's just say Tiffany home, Tiffany says her house is not worth $400,000. She files an appeal with our office this year, right? How much is her house worth? $400,000. She files an appeal with us this year. We says, okay, fine, we made a mistake. We see that her house should be worth $350,000. We reduce it. That reduced value does not change effective immediately on that tax bill. It's next year's second installment bill. She'll see that new value. If there is significant, if you had something like, let's say, what we can go back on, if you had a property and you had, say, a fire, the building's no longer there. Okay? We can go back. We cannot go back just because, oh, Skip says his house is not worth that for 4 years. No, we can't go back based on valuation. But if there are significant reasons, your property classification is wrong, or things like that, yes, we can go wrong. We can go back and provide you a certificate of errors. Yes. Yes, ma'am. I can't hear you. So would you get refunds? Yes, definitely. And we're going to go talk about that, but I didn't want to let him talk.
So I was just going to say, awesome. The assessor's office is going to hang around because we're going to have some more discussion about very much what we just started to touch on, which is those certificates of error, those exemptions and things of that nature. Is this other way to decrease how much your liability is. But before we get to that, we understand now what the assessment is, and every 3 years be on the lookout for your mail. Now I want to make sure that you understand what that appeal process looks like. And to help us get through that process, we've got Attorney Mario Reed, who is going to walk us through the appeals process.
Greatest of evenings, everyone. So, we are interested in appealing the values of our property, right? So the first thing that I want to make sure everyone's aware, and thankfully, the phenomenal presenter from the assessor, let's give her another round of applause. She touched on something that a lot of people don't quite understand. So when you hear that term property tax appeal, what do you think that you're doing? What are you doing when you appeal your taxes? I think we're contesting the taxes, right? That's what it sounds like. Furthest thing from the truth. You're not actually contesting the taxes. You're contesting the value of the property. And one of the things that I try and get people to understand, because I'm out in the south suburbs, and we have the highest property tax rates in all of America. So the values went up, but the tax rates went down. And that's the part that a lot of people don't understand. So the example that I like to use is if you go to Walmart and you purchase a printer, who puts the value on that printer? Somebody said HP, the maker, not Walmart. HP or whoever manufactured the printer put a value on the printer. However, who sets the sales tax rate? The state, the county, and the city. It works the same way with property taxes. The assessor's office is like HP. They're putting a value on the printer, or in this case, the property. But your local municipality, the school districts, Cook County, the mosquito abatement, all of those taxing bodies put the property tax amount on your particular property. And does anybody know what the #1 driving force is as a part of that property tax bill? The property tax rate. What's the leading cause of it? Our schools. So on average, the schools account for approximately 66% of our property tax bill. So When you get that reassessment notice and then eventually that tax bill, you have a tendency to want to hate the assessor's office. But remember, they're just putting a value on the printer. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, when it comes to the property tax appeal process, there are 2 free opportunities to do so every year. Who here likes free? Okay, excellent. So we got people who like free. So the first opportunity is to none other than the assessor's office. So the assessor says, here's your reassessed value, and then says, if we got it wrong, tell us about it. Does that seem like a pretty reasonable opportunity? Makes sense to me as well. Now, the only part that I've always said doesn't make the most sense is that they say, here's 30 days to do so. So that's the only caveat, and that's why it's so important you be on the lookout for when it is that there's an opportunity to do so. You can go to the assessor's website and you can sign up for updates where you will be notified when the townships open. Does everyone know how to check your township? Does everyone know? Perfect. Thank you for shaking your head no. If you don't know something, tell us so we can let you know. So there's a website that everyone should be familiar with. That website is cookcountypropertyinfo.com. And I know it's a long one, so I apologize about that, but cookcountypropertyinfo.com. And if you're able to pull it up, that'll work out fantastically. There it is. So this is the Cook County Property Tax Portal. This is by far one of the most important resources that any property owner in Cook County should be aware of and familiar with. And I know that Teresa said don't go snooping on people, but this is the site where you can go snooping on people. And I highly recommend you snoop on every single person possible. And the reason why is because how are we going to know if it's not uniform if we don't do some snooping? So let's do some snooping. Let's just type in 82 where it says house number. And this is what I like to call a wildcard search. So a lot of times we don't know the exact addresses of properties on our block. You don't have to know the exact address. Just type in the first 2 digits, and then let's look at Avalon. Yeah, so, nope, right here on the street. We're going to put Avalon. And then we're just going to put Chicago. No zip code, hit that search. And then this is going to bring up every single property in the 82nd 100 block of Avalon. You can go even larger in your search by just putting in an 8 and then Avalon, and then it'll bring up everything in the 800th, the 8,000th block of Avalon. No, we don't want to do that. No, let's not do that. Let's go back to 82. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at 8243. Let's go to 8243. There we go. So we're going to just click on where it says 8243 South Avalon, and this is going to bring up the snooping information. And we want to get really good at snooping because that's how the property tax appeal process is going to really help out. So Teresa mentioned that if you're comparing properties, you want to look at the assessed value, also known as the estimated property value. In Cook County, we are so special that we're on our own assessed value system. No other county throughout the state does what we do because we're that great. But we want to look to see what's the estimated property value. A lot of people say that the assessor has gotten it wrong, but as Teresa mentioned, got it wrong in your favor a lot of times. There right now are a lot of properties that are underassessed. And does anyone know why it is that there are so many properties that are underassessed? Because it's behind. That's correct. That's partially correct, because we're behind the triennial reassessment cycle, but we've been behind before. We've always worked in arrearage. What's different? What recently happened that caused our values to skyrocket? The pandemic. And not actually the pandemic, because that actually was just killing people. But what the low interest rates. Those low interest rates caused for there to be a lot of people who were interested in purchasing properties. And because we know how supply and demand works, the demand went up, the supply stayed the same or went down, so the values went up. So because of that, properties were selling for over list price, over appraised price. And that's what caused us to be in the predicament where we're now seeing such drastic increases. That's something to keep in mind as you're going through the appeals process. Because when you feel like, hey, this assessor got it wrong, you want to compare it. And how do we compare? We go snooping. We go snooping. So the first opportunity to appeal is to the assessor's office. That opportunity is a limited window of opportunity. How long is that window of opportunity typically? 30 days. And it typically coincides with when you get that letter. So you get that letter in the mail, don't toss it on the counter and say, I'll get to it. You need to get to it that day or the next day. But definitely don't say, I'll get to it a couple months from now, because that opportunity is going to pass. The second opportunity is to the Cook County Board of Review's office. There are 3 different commissioners for the Cook County Board of Review. Ours is Larry Rogers. And we'll pull up cookcountyboardofreview.com. They also have the opportunity to sign up for updates to let you know when you can contest. And instead of calling it a property tax appeal, I'm just going to call it a contest, because we are contesting the assessed value. I want for everyone to fully understand, you're not challenging the tax rates. You are saying, assessor, you got the value wrong. And here's the reason you got the value. There are lots of reasons why that value could be wrong. Yes? Were you? No. Okay. So this is the Board of Review. Now, one of the things that the Board of Review offers is the opportunity to pre-file. Pre-filing allows you to submit your contest before your township opens. And really quickly, so everyone understands the townships, because in the city of Chicago, you guys don't have township government like we do in the south suburbs. If you ever look at a map of Illinois, imagine squares throughout the entire state. And that square is your township. So there are tons of squares all throughout the state, and that's what determines your township. For the Cook County Board of Review, you can pre-file. And when you pre-file, you are submitting your challenge, and they hold it until your township opens. So instead of you having to wait until your township opens, you can say, hey, I'd like for you to hold on to this appeal or challenge until my township opens. I don't recommend doing that. And here, there's a map, thank you. There's a map of the townships. And the entire state of Illinois is this way. So we're seeing Cook County, but you see how there's a square for Barrington? See how there's a square for Lyons? Now, because Chicago is not the most symmetrical place, because this is Chicago over here. Does anybody know why this is Chicago? Because that's O'Hare Airport. Because Daley said, got to give us O'Hare. So even though you got this amoeba over here, that's still part of Chicago. This is why some of you live way out south and are still part of Hyde Park Township, even though you think Hyde Park only consists of a few square blocks. This is the township. It's a square most places. That's what determines when your opportunity to challenge with the assessor's office opens. You can also if you go back to the tax portal right over here, right here up top in the center, it shows you your township. You should check the property tax portal twice a year, consistently. Every year, twice a year, you should be checking the tax portal. And you should check it when you get a tax bill. You want to check it for a lot of reasons. Most importantly, you need to know what this number is. This number is even more important than your credit score. Lots of people like to think I got to check my credit score. If you're not buying something, it doesn't really matter what your credit score is. But every year, you're going to pay a property tax bill, right? So you need to know what that value is every single year. Because if it keeps creeping up, guess what else is going to keep creeping up? Your tax bill. One of the other things that's very outstanding about this website is if we click on the blue hyperlink, it'll pull up your assessed value history. So you can look back and see what the assessed value was going back to 2018. These assessed values are based on a 10% assessment level. So what I always recommend is move the comma one place to the right. So in 2018, what was the value of this property? $144,000. 2019, what was the assessed value? $144,000. Then what happened? It dropped. COVID happened. And the assessor was looking out for us and said, hey, we understand times are tough, and even though we can't change the tax rate, we can reduce the assessed value. And that led to reductions of a ton of properties, which was a good thing. However, COVID's over. And even though some of us still like to mask up, the rest of us are out here living dirty. And our assessed values are now reflecting that. You'll notice that that value typically stays consistent for the 3-year period, right? That's someone who said, I'm okay with my value. I'm not going to challenge it. However, sometimes you'll go and check this and you'll see those valuations all over the place. It might start at 144, it might go down to 129, it might go to 124, then to 117, and then it'll jump. That's someone who's appealing and contesting their value every single year. Because every single year, you can challenge your assessed value. You do not have to wait until there's a reassessment. You can say, this year, wrong value. Next year, wrong value. Year after that, wrong value. So every single year you have that opportunity. So we can go ahead and close out of there. Yes.
So if you see that those are trending up, would you advise to do a pre-file for the coming season session?
Good question. So remember, where's our first opportunity to appeal? Assessor's office. I don't recommend pre-filing because I want to hear what the assessor had to say. The assessor's office is going to give us a response based on the appeal that we submit. So right now, Hyde Park Township is open. They're open until September 11th. For everyone in Hyde Park Township, you should be submitting an appeal, a challenge. I believe it's 60 days that that decision is rendered, correct? So 60 to 90. So within 2 to 3 months, you're going to get a letter and a notice from the assessor that said your appeal was granted or your appeal was denied or declined. And oftentimes, the assessor's office is going to be transparent with you and say, the reason we declined it is because we searched these properties and they're similar to yours and the value is higher. That's just like in school when the teacher grades your paper and tells you you got it wrong for these reasons. So we want to get the answers from the teacher telling us you got it wrong for these reasons, because then what are we going to do? We're going to use that information to try and bolster our appeal. So the name of the game is that we want to give the people what they want. First, we're going to hopefully give the assessor's office what they want. If we don't, they're going to tell us, and then that helps us to craft a better appeal that we give to the Board of Review. And every single year, we're going to go through the same system over and over again. We're going to take the information we get, and we're going to bolster our appeal. Does that make sense and answer the question for you? Perfect. Yes, sir, right here, and then we'll come up front.
This estimated property value,
Yes.
where does that come from?
Yes, that's a great question, and that's what Teresa just helped us out with. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and we'll tag team. Yeah. So Teresa and I,
We go way
worked
back.
for the Cook County Recorder of Deeds office, and we would do lots of workshops together. So this is like deja
This is,
vu.
it is, right? It's a good team, right? What? Hey. All right, let's get this going. So can you just go to the Cook County Assessor's website? So why don't you go and, okay. So we're going to go to where we say valuation report. Now, all of this information that Mario was speaking about as well is on our site. That even that beautiful map right here, it shows you. So okay, so go down, yep. Now it says right here, like you can pull up your valuation reports. So when Lake Township opens up, your report will be there, okay? So hypothetically, it's not open yet, but Rogers Park maybe. Let's just click there and see what it says. Lake is not, okay, you want to click on Hyde Park? Okay, let's go. Hyde Park. But, I mean, you're in Hyde Park. Okay, that's fine. Let's get Hyde Park. Okay, so now here we go. No secrets. So right now, single family homes here, right here, the median is on 161 in 2023. And in 2024, they should be on 127. Okay? That's our estimate. That's single family homes. That's not two-story homes. That's single family. We're at 127. Make it a little bit smaller. Now, for your condos, they had 172 to 184. Got it? Now, there's a lot of condos coming up in Hyde Park. All over Hyde Park. 63rd Cottage, all up in there. I seen some for 300,000. Okay? 400,000. $600,000. And people are, I'm like, where do they get this money from? And then we have the small apartment buildings there. Now, scroll up a little bit. And this is the estimated market value. Like, all of this is on our website. So you'll be able to go through it. And this is the information that Mario was giving to you from the portal, pretty much, how your house is worth. So here, that's that 127. That's the change. And so this is a trend for 3 years. For 2020 to 23, you see how the market has changed from 153 to 161? That's just for single family. And then the condos, 173, they went up. Then it dropped again, then it went down. Now, all of these are the sales. And Mario can tell you where the sales come from, okay? So association property is still condos. It's still a condo. Condo properties are valued a little different and assessed a little bit different. They are assessed on percentages of ownership. Whereas his home and my home and this gentleman's home combined, they'll look at all the sales. But a condo, we look within that building because you're valued on a percentage of ownership. Some of those places in those condos, they're not all the same size. Some people got a deck upstairs and swimming pool and all kinds of things. And they own the basement. So they're assessed differently. They're assessed on percentage of ownership. But every residential property is assessed at 10%. Commercial is at 25%. Okay? Even a two flat. Yes. Yes. Even a two flat. Any other questions about assessment? Appeals? Can we talk about exemptions? Or you, we got more. We got more appeals. Go ahead, finish up.
Okay, so for the appeals, first one to the assessor, second one to the board of review. Every year, we are appealing. Now, when it comes time for you to submit that appeal, as we've found, the mass system that's being used is giving us our range. However, how many of you have sold or purchased your home within the last 6 years? How many of you have had your home for longer than 6 years? So all of you are representative of why it's so important that we want to look at your individual home, because your home wasn't bought or sold within the last 6 years. So that takes us back to why we're snooping, because we want to find other homes that are like yours. We're looking to find the individual specifics of your home, because your home may not be one that's representative of a recent home sale. So you want to look at the specifics of your home, and we want to find other homes that look like yours. That's what we're doing as a part of the appeal. We're saying, hey, assessor, you found all these properties, and we've got all these sales and all this data, but let me tell you about homes that are just like mine. And we want those homes to be as close to similar as yours as possible. If your home is frame, you should be looking for frame homes. If your home has 1,300 square feet, we should be looking for homes with 1,300 square feet or as close as possible. If your home is a condo, we don't want to look for a single family residence home to try and compare it to. So when you hear those terms of comparables, we want it to be as comparable as possible. And there's dozens of places that you can go to find that information. You can go to the assessor's website and you can find comparables. I'm a big fan of Redfin. And the reason I'm a big fan of Redfin is because I really like snooping and looking at pictures of people's insides of their homes. Just nosy like that. Redfin. Redfin is going to allow you to truly dive into someone's home. So when we go to Redfin, when it comes to the city of Chicago, it's a big challenge because of how large of a municipality Chicago is. But let's go ahead and type in Chicago. Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and select it. So Redfin is trying to help you buy a home. We're not interested in buying a home. We're interested in finding out about which homes were purchased. And more importantly, we're going to change that filter, and we're going to go to sold. And we don't want to look back 5 years. We're not concerned with going back in time that far. We don't even really want to go 3 years. I recommend look at the last year, because that way it will tell you what it is that you should be expecting. The other thing that we want to do is use these filters up top. So we don't have to worry so much about price, but bedrooms and baths will help you. Because even though your house might have 3 bedrooms and another house might have 4, oftentimes that square footage is going to be close. So you can keep it with what you have, and the likelihood of finding similar square footage is going to be to your advantage. The other thing you can do is you can dig into home type. So if you have a condo, you want to make sure that you indicate as such. Now, for people who are part of associations, you want to check with your association and see if they are going to be submitting an appeal on your behalf. A lot of associations will tell you, you don't go submit the appeal, we're going to do it, and that's part of the assessments that you're paying on a monthly basis. So you always want to check with your association because they may not want you submitting an appeal because oftentimes everybody's going to kind of be roped in on that. So they typically will say, let us do it with who we've contracted with. So when we're looking at houses, and we can unclick condo and click done. You then have the option to sort. And instead of sorting by recommended, we're going to look at low to high. Because what are we trying to get our assessed value to? The lowest amount possible. I want my house to be assessed for $1. So Teresa and company, if you all are listening, my house is worth $1. That's it. Got it on sale. Now, one of the other things that you want to be mindful, and I used to work for government, I now am in private practice, but I'm a big believer in whatever you're doing, just be real. There's no reason to try and think that you're going to get over on somebody. It's not going to help you. So if you come on here and we see this $30,000 house, if we click on that $30,000 house, there's a good chance that this $30,000 house does not look like ours. So it does you no good to grab that $30,000 house and put it as one of the comparable properties for your appeal. Because just like you were able to look at this, guess who else can look at this? The assessor, the board of review. So were you being real with your appeal? No. So this is why I recommend go to Redfin, because if we would have went and just looked at the tax portal, it's not going to give us that information. So we want to go through and we want to find properties that resemble and look like ours. If your property hasn't been updated and rehabbed, then we want to find properties that haven't been updated and rehabbed. And we want to cull together at least 6 of those. We're looking for at least 6. And we want to get the property identification number. Where can we get that property identification number? We can go back to the tax portal, but we can also get it from here. So if we scroll down a bit, the Redfin data, yeah, let's keep on going.
It's right there.
Yeah. There we go. So you'll see where it says parcel number. So you can get that parcel number right there. If you want, you can go back over to the tax portal. You can have 2 windows side by side, or you can just grab it from there. So getting those property identification numbers and those addresses, I recommend get yourself a piece of scratch paper and then just jot them down. And you're looking for ideally 6. But we want them to be as close to your property as possible. Don't go getting a house that's 800 square feet and was burned out, and yours is 1,600 square feet and is not burned out. We want properties that are as close to yours as possible. If your property was burned out, then that's when we want to tell the assessor, my property was burned out, and that's a very different process and result. But in this case, if your property's not burned out, we don't want to get burned out properties. We want to get properties that are as close and as similar as yours. And then we want to do the math. So if we get 6 homes and the average of those 6 homes is $135,000, if your assessed value is $145,000, that's when it is that we want to tell the assessor, hey, I found these 6 properties, the average is 135. But if you do that same search and the average comes to 175,000 and your property is 145, it's probably not going to be a reduction happening with your property. And it's because the market does in fact prove your house is worth at least that. Now, that doesn't mean you just stop and don't submit it, because everybody can get lucky. So you could submit it, and the assessor could say, I really like the cut of your jib. So we're going to go ahead and reduce it still. And then you still get the information where they tell you we're not reducing it for these reasons, and then you use that information to go and bolster your appeal to the Board of Review. So every year, it's the process of trying to find persuasive information to challenge your assessed value. We do it first to the assessor, then second to the Board of Review, and every year, again and again. Yes, sir. Yes, so ideally we want it as close as possible. A mile is going to work out better for you. Sometimes there aren't. So you got to go with what it is that's available, especially when you get into the arena of having unique properties and everything like that. But in the city of Chicago, it shouldn't be that tough to find comparables within a close distance. Yes, ma'am? Can you appeal a vacant lot? So you absolutely can challenge the assessed value of a vacant lot. But remember, it's going to be a challenge because you got to find comparable properties. Exactly. So when you say where, that's what it is that you're up against. Now, in the city of Chicago, it's not as tough because there are more vacant lots than you're probably aware of. It's just that a lot of vacant lots aren't selling. So that's when it is that you get into the arena of going to the tax portal, that cookcountypropertyinfo.com. And remember how I did the wildcard search? We just typed in the first 2 digits, and then we typed in a street name. What you can do is you can click on several of those properties, and then at which point it'll bring up the tax bill. If it's a $200 or a $300 tax bill, that likely means that it's a vacant lot. So even though it didn't sell, and you're not going to see that on Redfin, you'll still be able to see the assessed value for that lot, and then you can see the square footage and say, hey, assessor, I think that you should use these instead of what's mine. It's going to take you longer. It's going to take you much longer because you got to click on several. You got to kiss a whole lot of frogs. But in the process, you could find your Prince Charming result of an assessed value. Sort by classification.
So go to Cook County Assessor's website. Now, go to where it says all forms and tools. Okay? All forms and tools. And then you want to go to interactive mapping. Okay? Now, give me your PIN number, Gail. You know it off the top of your head. Come on, give it to me. 25, 22, 308, 031. You don't need the zeros. Now, 4 zeros means that you live in a home, the 4 zeros. And if you live in a condo, the last 4 digits is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. But when it has 4 zeros, that means you live in a home. Okay? Now, this is the subdivision where Gail lives. And so if you can see all these properties, right? So this is how you compare your property. You click on here, that left-hand side where it says property index number. Come down a little bit. Click there. Yep, right there. Now, you come to this middle part here. Click. Right there. Right here, yep, where it says compare this property. Now, go back to the green side. So right here, it says find comparable properties, right? See how many properties come up? Just like Gail's house. Now you can go from here and click on each house. So click on one, and you can find, it gives you all the information right there. The same type of house, building, everything information about that house. Okay? So that's how you can do it. You can even do the vacant lots like that as well. Okay? Yes, ma'am? Oh, I'm going to talk about that. Okay. Hold on, let him finish. Yes. We're gonna circle back about the senior stuff in a few minutes, okay? We're gonna circle back with all the senior stuff. I don't see any, but we're gonna talk about it. All right.
So I'm at the conclusion of mine, so if there's any, yes, questions?
Going back to earlier, when I said about the, single-family home, just the basement and the, 2 floors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it assessed it at $135,000, right? But I built up on it, right? Made it a second floor level, 3 bedrooms and a bath, right? But I did the search, like you said, and there's 2 other houses on the same block that did the same thing. Will the property, again, of that house goes up, say we went up to 175, can I sell it at that same price? I hope you understand it right.
So, yes, but the assessed value has nothing to do with the appraised value. And that's something that a lot of people confuse because they see the assessed value on there and they say, oh, it's only $135,000. And they think that that's going to prevent the property from being sold for $185,000, $195,000. My law school professor, Professor Hunt, the first day of class said that the value of something is what someone's willing to pay for it. That's the value. So it doesn't matter what it's assessed for, it doesn't matter what it appraises for. If somebody's willing to give you $1 million for that property, that's the value of it that matters. So don't ever get confused by the assessed value and say, this is what my house is worth. That's just the assessed value. What the value of the home is what someone's willing to give you for it should you decide to part ways with it. There was, and yes, sir, in the vest, and then we'll go there. So are you talking about like P-TAB or P-tax? P-tax. So what is it that specifically related to P-tax? Yes. Yes. So you can file both of those appeals online. So if you go back to cookcountyassessor.com, I think you were. I think it was back to this one over here. Nope. Right here, this one, that tab. Yeah, there we go. So you go back up to the top, and right up here on the ribbon, it shows appeals. And then that third option is file online. It's going to ask you to sign in. You should definitely create your account with the assessor's office. It is to your benefit to do so because then once you've submitted your appeals, you can check the results. You can keep up with the history of them. So you'll be able to go and create the account and then submit the appeal. The same with the Board of Review. Right at cookcountyboardofreview.com, you can file your appeal right on that website, and it's wise to create a login. I highly recommend create your accounts with the assessor's office and with the Board of Review. You can also sign up for updates that way. It is to your advantage to get notified via email once the window opens, instead of waiting for that letter. Yes, the gentleman in the back, did you? Okay, perfect, and then, yes, sir.
Repeat that again. You started off, it's to your advantage to.
Create an account with the assessor's office and with the Board of Review's office.
So, you can file without creating an account.
Yes. So for the Board of Review, you can definitely file as a guest. With the assessor's office, if you're filing online, they're going to want you to create an account.
So, here's my issue. I filed an appeal with the assessor's office. They didn't have
nothing. No record of it or anything like that.
So let me address that.
Yes.
So he said he filed an appeal. He said he filed an appeal online. When you file an appeal with the Cook County Assessor's Office, you should receive a confirmation. If you didn't refill the confirmation, you didn't do anything. Matter of fact, you can only file an appeal when your township is open. You have 30 calendar days to file. 30 calendar days. Okay? So, you didn't do anything, Chip. It's okay.
So it didn't take because maybe.
Because the township is not open.
And that's also why it's to your benefit to create the account.
Yes.
So that way you're going to see it. And when you go in and you log in to file an appeal with the assessor, it's going to tell you at the ribbon at the top, your township is open or your township is not. So it's not going to allow you to go forward without that knowledge that, hey, you're not doing anything. But by having the account, you can start the process potentially, start gathering information, and then come back later.
Can I also add to that, because I'm inquisitive like that? It is to your benefit to open that account and go through, because there are things, there are documents and documentation that you need to be able to provide. It kind of helps you put wrap your brain around it, so that you can have everything you need when it's fully open.
I'm gonna file it.
No, I get it, I just, for
And
everyone.
let me say one thing too. Let me just say this. You don't have to, if you are not computer savvy. Now, listen to this. You can come to our office and we can do it for you. Now, do you have to find comps? No. I said I'm a prior analyst. I've been there for 25 years. We will find the comps for you. So you don't have to go searching, looking up somebody's property, like y'all gonna look up me later.
Do it.
And I don't care.
Do it.
So you don't have to look for them. Our office will find them for you. Okay? So, yes. Okay, I'm going to explain that part for them too. If I'm going to talk about that. Oh, no, I know. Go ahead, dear. Yes.
I just want to know, because years and years ago, Larry Rogers would always have.
Yes.
And we would file, well, I would file every year. Sometimes I was successful, sometimes I wasn't. However, lately, I've been getting literature in that say that they can file it for me, and I have been very successful each time. So what is the advantage of filing it yourself or having some firm file it for you?
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to let you talk and then, because
so-
well, I'm going to say what I have to say. I'm going to say this. If it's free, it's for me. Now, there's nothing magical about filing an appeal. Now, I know my friend over here is an attorney, and he does help people. But in our office, in our website, in our office, we can do it for you. There was nothing magical about an attorney filing and looking for you some comps. Some people don't want to do the work. So then they go to Mario. And he knows all this work because he's worked with government, he's worked with the county, he's worked in all these various offices. So they let Mario do the work. But me, I don't have any money. I work for the government. And I'm going to file my own appeal. So it's up to you and your own personal preference. If you want to go to Mario or file yourself. Okay? And they don't have, we can't look at it and say, oh, this is Chip's file, let me give him a reduction. We can't see names. No, we can't. Fritz Kagi, the Cook County Assessor, made that possible so we can't be biased in filing and giving reductions to our friends. Yes, ma'am.
The one thing I want to bring up is I'm noticing that we have all these opportunities going on, and that we're telling seniors they can go online and do ABCDEFG. Here's the problem. Most seniors do not know how to go online.
We just said that. Yeah, well, as I said, you got neighborhood housing. You have your alderman's office. Okay, let me say the resources. I'm going to be with Michelle Harris. If y'all in the 8th Ward, we're at almost every alderman's office throughout this city of Chicago. I travel this whole county speaking and talking and advocating to people. Just like we're here, we're always out. If neighborhood housing call us, any agency call us, we're there. Okay? When I say throughout this whole county, I was even working Saturday at Jackson Park outside with a table. So we out here. And we want to, I know this is over at 7:30, but I want to talk about those exemptions, and it's crucial.
I don't disagree. A couple things. One is stay tuned, because I got a feeling Linda's little wonderful mind is working, and so there may be a workshop coming when Lake Township opens up.
See, there you go.
And there may be some hands-on clinic assistance partnering with CDL, NHS to get it done. Two, I want to caveat everything we heard today. If you have a senior freeze, please don't touch your stuff.
Well, okay.
Tell her.
Okay, so let me just run through exemptions. I know we're here only to 7:30.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so let's talk about exemptions. Can you pull our website up? Now, this is really crucial. We can't say what you can do, but here we go. Okay, exemptions, right here. All right, so let's just go exemptions overview. All right, so here we go. Now, remember, when you file appeal, as Mario said, Attorney Mario Reed stated, you don't compare tax bills. You compare assessed values. Got it? So don't go file an appeal based on someone's tax bill. You compare assessed values. Now, scroll up a little bit. We're going to talk about the homeowners. The homeowners exemption. Tiffany's 19 years old. She owns a house. Okay, you can be any age, but you should have owned that house as of last year, January the 1st, 2023. Now, why I'm explaining these exemptions is real crucial. It's savings, okay? A lot of people don't apply for the exemptions. Now, we talk about the senior exemptions. I don't see any. I had one in here. I think they left. Okay. I'm talking about you got to be 65. Now, the senior exemption, you must have been born in 1958 or prior, right? Homeowners, you can get the homeowners, and you could get the senior exemption, okay? Now, what's your name, sir? Jonathan? Okay, let me see your name. You may give me the wrong name. Mr. Means. Mr. Means is 69 years old. Hey. His wife, Miss Mary, is 26. All right now, Miss Mary. You a young boo, baby. Okay, now. You working with something. Okay, now. How old is his wife? 26. Why are you trying to get him an old woman? How old is he? 69. They receive the homeowners and the senior exemption, right? Okay, now, they have a son. What's your name, sir?
Martise.
They have a son, Martise. He done moved in the house. Oh, Lord. Now here come the trouble. Oh, Lord. They receive the homeowners, the senior, and the senior freeze. In order to get the homeowners, the senior, and the senior freeze, your household, everyone, husband, wife, child, income must be less than $65,000 combined, gross. Got it? Okay. Their income was already $60,000. He hit the lottery. Pick 4. $10,000. Do they qualify? No. Gross income. That is income. He is the son. Got it? Okay. Kick him out. You better kick him out, Mr. Means. He got to go, he said. Now, the low income senior freeze, if you receive that LIHEAP or SNAP benefits, you don't have to prove your income. You don't have to prove your income anyway. You just have to tell us on your application. Now, I don't think anybody here down here going to tell any stories. You know what LIE, stories. So please tell the truth on your application, because we do some audit randomly. Got it? Now, we don't want this Auburn Gresham audited, and we see you all on the news for saying you qualify. Okay, and that 26-year-old, right. Yeah, he done told because you put him out. Now, in addition to that, you can have the homeowners, the senior freeze. How much your income has to be? Less than what? 65,000 gross income. Now we have a persons with disability exemption. Persons with disability exemption means that you receive Social Security disability, or the doctor deems you disabled. Got it? Or you fill out a form called the P-Tax. That's that form, 343. You take it to your doctor. He fills it out. It is not up to Gail or George to determine if you're disabled. Got it? Now, it could be the husband or the wife, whoever's on the deed. You can receive that exemption, and not the child, right? Okay, unless he's on the deed. And then you can go to your optometrist, okay? If your optometrist says, oh, okay, she has a vision impairment, something's wrong, let them fill out that form. Now you have homeowners, senior freeze, and persons with disability. How many is that? Four. Now, go up. Do we have any veterans here? Mr. Means and the man right there, let's give them a round of applause for serving our country. All right. So the return of veteran exemption is an exemption from active duty, active war, like the war they fight now, active. We don't want all of that. We want active duty, active conflict, okay? But thank you for serving our country, all right? And that's called returning vet. Now, we also have a veteran with disability exemption, right? A veteran and disability exemption is that you were injured in the war, actually injured in the war. What's your name, sir? Jerry. Jerry, hypothetically, was injured in the war. He has a service-connected disability because he was injured in the war. He has a 70% deemed by the Veterans Administration. You're 70, so he doesn't pay property taxes no more. So y'all better try to marry him if he ain't married. Of 70 or above. But it's not on a 3-flat building. It's on a house. It's only on a house. It's not on a 2-flat. It's only the portion you stay in. Got it? Single family home. So if he lives in Barrington and that house is worth under $250,000 maybe, or $400 or $500, he doesn't pay taxes. Got it? Okay. Now, the long-time exemption. The long-time exemption operates like this. Oh, I want to go back to the veterans exemption. Let me say this. Jerry is married. What's your name, baby? Tangy. He married to Tangy. She already want that 70%. Done killed the man already. She out here plotting. How do I get him? All right, 70%. So he receives 70% off the home. Somehow, mysteriously, hypothetically, he disappears. Tangy. Tiffany said this is the next 48 hours. He disappears, right? So he passed away, Lord forbid. Now she has the house. She can't get married if she wants those benefits. She can have a boo coming in the back door, she said, but she can't get married, okay? So you can't get married if you get those benefits, all right? Okay. Now we have the long-time exemption. The long-time exemption, everybody think they qualify. We get 1,000 of them, people calling us every day. I qualify. No, you don't. The long-time exemption, must have been in your house over 10 years. That's many of you, right? Don't just wink at me. Household income must be less than $100,000. Okay. Combined income, all that other money, babysitting money. And what happens is from 2013, 14, your house should have been creeping up, that value going up and up. What happened in 2020? Pandemic, it dropped that value. So you probably don't qualify. And even if you did, we will send you a letter automatically. If your value kept going up and up and up, we're going to automatically send you a letter. We don't know your income, but we know if your value has increased during that period of time. Now, I'm going to go back. When Mario talked about the senior freeze, you remember how much is the income? Less than what? $65,000. 65. See, they're going to put you out for real. $65,000, right? Combined gross income, right? Put them out. Mario's putting you out. Okay. $65,000. Now, this is how the senior freeze works. The senior freeze works like this. The higher the value of your home, the greater your savings on your senior freeze. Now, what did I say? The higher the value on your home, the greater your savings on your senior freeze. So you're going to save more money. So now, Tiffany, what's your name, dear? Hyola. Tiffany saw how much Hyola was paying for property taxes. She done listened to Mario and went on that site, because that's what you all going to do, okay? She went on the site, and she found out that she was paying maybe $100 for property taxes, right? They both received the senior freeze. Tiffany was saving $4,000 and $5,000 off her senior freeze, but she wanted some more. She wanted her bill to be, instead of $600, $100. She filed an appeal. This happens all the time. People get greedy, and they go ahead and file an appeal, listening to some other folks. If you're on the senior freeze, I can't tell you what to do. I wouldn't file an appeal. I would not. Because the goal is to bring your assessed value down. Well, your tax bill will come down. You can't get the assessed value down to zero, because that's the value of your home. But you want your tax bill to get as low as possible, because it affects your mortgage. Got it? You want to apply for your exemptions. We can go back 4 years and provide your refunds, too, if you missed your exemptions. Okay? All right. But your exemptions, make sure you have them, and your appeals. Like Mario said, you can apply every year. But here's the difference when you file an appeal every year. When are you going to receive your notice? Your reassessment notice? Every 3 years. So say you received it this year, right? You filed your appeal, okay? When you win, it stays for 3 years. 1, 2, and 3. That value stays for 3 years if you win, right? When you receive it this year, that's called your reassessment period. Now, let's say it's 2025. Is this your reassessment period? No. No, because you're in the city. So now you file your appeal and you win. That value only stays for 1 year. Got it? So if it's your time frame, your period, you win, it stays for 3 years. If it's not your time, it stays for how many years? 1 year. See the advantage? Everything happens on your second installment bill. Look for everything on your second installment bill, your exemptions and your assessment changes, okay? Now, the last exemption I'm going to talk about, let me go back, is home improvement. So I want to go to our website. Can you go to our website for home improvement and look at home improvement, learn more? So everybody think they qualify for this too. All right. So now Mr. Means got his son to add a dormer on the second floor of the house. So can you go to the left and look up FAQs? Okay, and go up, right there. Mm-hmm. So he had his son to do it. He's good at his hand. He's good. He's very good. He knows how to make all these dormers and things like that, right? He added some improvement to the house, but he didn't pull a permit. Got it? Tanji got mad because she didn't keep her kids, okay? She emailed us and told us about it. Now, does that happen? Every day. Now, Georgia started with us a month ago. How many emails have we got? What's a lot? Tell the truth. Over 1,000, okay, or more. You know why? If you're in a house and you're claiming exemptions, you know how we know that you don't live there or you're down in Alabama somewhere? Your neighbors tell us. Your neighbors tell us everything, and your family tell us all about you. And we read these emails every day. So we know all about them. He said snake, but that's it, okay? Now, this home improvement exemption, when you pull a permit, you don't have to apply for it. Pull that permit. The permit gets to the county, and that's how we know you're making your home improvement. A lot of people want to hire Mr. Mean's son to do it. Oh, I'm getting a deal. Okay, when the city come and have you tear it down, then what's going to happen? Got it? You have to pull a permit. These are all the things that's not covered. right there. Got it? So it's a lot. Repair your roofing, remove the trees, replacing your kitchen cabinets. That's everything everyone does, right? Everything pretty much. But it's not like what he did. He added some square footage. He pulled a permit. He didn't have Mr. Mean's son come and do it. All right? All of this is on our website. What I'm trying to tell everyone here, tell the truth. Pull that permit. If you live in a different state and you're claiming exemptions, drop that other exemption. If you have a home and you have 2 and 3 of them, don't receive exemptions on their other homes. You only can receive exemptions on your primary residence. You're going to have to come and see an attorney and pay all that money back. Yes, ma'am. You put in a bathroom. Are you adding more square footage, or is square footage already in the home? No. No.
This is really going to apply to, some of you may be familiar, we did the ADU grants in Auburn Gresham a while ago, right? So those people that added those accessory dwelling units that added additional square footage, meaning
Yes.
you put the grandma or the mother-in-law suite on the back, or put another level on top, or created more livable space in another capacity of a garage or something, that is going to be what she's talking about.
Yes. Home improvement. Are there any questions with exemptions? Yes, ma'am. And we're going to
We're
wrap
almost
up.
done.
Yes. There's no, there are no exemptions, but you can file an appeal for commercial property.
That's a different class.
It's a different class. Pardon me? That's not an exemption. Home improvement. You
If you're
pull that permit.
increasing your square footage, that's the rule of thumb, okay? So here's a couple of rules of thumb before we depart today. Let's stay focused a little bit more. One is, think of the exemptions as coupons, right? When you go to the store, I got 50 cents off, I got 25 cents off. You want to stack as many of those coupons as possible to get that liability down. 2, should you run into an issue, if you have a problem where it's like, I ain't gonna be able to pay that bill just yet, there is a new tool out there that I wanna make sure you know is available to our residents. The goal here is we don't want our homes going to the property tax sale. Far too often, homes in our neighborhood, black folks' homes, are going to the property tax sale. And this is happening because a lot of these homes are outside of mortgage. When you're in escrow, you make a monthly payment. You don't notice yourself paying that property tax. The moment you are done paying that mortgage, there's no more escrow. So you get that bill, guess what you got to do? You got to write the check. And so it's proving to be problematic for a lot of folks. So Eric, can you pull up that website for us? NHS worked with the Housing Policy Task Force to help us get a property tax payment plan for those that are delinquent. Now, mind you, this is the first step. We're still pushing, because to me, we pay our mortgages monthly, we pay our car notes monthly. Why the heck can't we pay our property taxes monthly? So we're going to keep pushing for that for everyone. But if you are late, there is an option now. So the property tax payment calculator here, this is harder than I thought to get off. Oh my goodness. Ooh la la. Oh, is it new? Okay. So you would go into the the Cook County Treasurer's office, Maria Pappas's offices, you put your PIN number in like you want to pay your bill. And it's going to say pay your bill or go into a payment plan if you're delinquent, meaning it's past the date it was due. If it is before the date it's due and you don't owe a debt, you will not see the option, okay? It's giving you, hey, your taxes are paid. This is a dummy account, so don't freak out. And it says, hey, no, you're a delinquent. So here's the option, right? Pay now or pay on the calculator. We're going to choose that calculator, right? It's going to ask the PIN number, but we already did this. You're going to go to the page that I already gave you that has it up there, or you can put the PIN number in again. Or you can re-enter the PIN number. It's on the computer I gave you, on that Excel spreadsheet, Alt-Tab. 19. Oh yeah, use this one here. Well, wait, but it needs to be behind. If it's not late, you're not gonna see it. That's why we have these test ones. Here, let me help you. Okay. It's in, where's my computer? 19 24 220 015 4 zeros. Yeah, it is.
I think it's not, I think it's like 5:30 to 6. Call Michelle Harris' office. Okay. They've already set it up. And if you need to file an appeal, we can file the appeal. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. So you're going to scroll down for me a little bit? Right, so this is the payments. This is how much yada, yada, yada. Scroll down. Oh, wait. Did you put in the right one? Why is it now showing? Scroll back up, please. I think we did. Anyway, so once you are at the payment page, if you are not paying all of the amount, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to go into the property tax payment plan? There are options to pay monthly or biweekly. It will help you figure out and do the math of how much needs to be paid monthly or biweekly to avoid the property tax sale. It will then allow you to enroll in the program. Couple things you need to understand. When you're enrolling in this program, you are enrolling in the program and saying, I am going to make these payments on these dates. It is not automatically pulling the money out of your account. That's first. Second of all, the interest does still accrue. So the goal is always pay it faster. But if we get it, you can't write a check for $3,000, then let's figure out a way to make sure that that property does not end up on the property tax payment plan. Yeah. Yes. Yes, this is being recorded via Zoom, and you will get a link that will allow you to play it back at your leisure. Okay. Correct. Yep. This will only apply if you are outside of escrow, right? The point of the escrow account, right, is to get those property taxes and your insurance, make sure everything's covered with that mortgage just in case something goes left. They're covering their investment. Once you're out of your mortgage, that's when this becomes problematic, really, for most folks. I distinctly remember crying the first time I got the bill, and I was like, wait, I paid the mortgage, what's wrong? And it's like, right, you're done, but now you have to write this check. Yes, Miss Margaret.
I was gonna say, even though, you can't set it up with the, assessor's office, for to do the monthly, most of us have banks, and in our bank, you can't set up your bank, have your bank to take it out of your checking account on time every month, and it's the same thing with the.
That's exactly right. And so for me, yeah, that would be what I would do, right? If it's Chase, I'm going to set up my recurring payments to come out and make sure it's hitting the day before it's due, not after, but the day before it's due, so that you are staying current with that. But on the page, you are just agreeing to this process, and they're updating and deducting that from what you owe. Yes, this is the answer to that. Part of the answer. Part of the answer. Yep. So this is the first step, right? We don't want ever people to be displaced from their homes because of delinquent property taxes, particularly when we fought so hard to get them, and you've paid them off, and now you're losing it. For on average, the median amount folks are owing is less than $5,000. More often than not, it's $2,000. And the people that are buying these property taxes are hedge funds. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm so sorry. Say it one more time. Yes, there is an interest rate that's attached. You don't have, so here's the deal. You don't ever have to choose the payment plan. This is an option we wanted people to be able to have, should you not be able to write the big check in one go. Before this option was available, you could do it, but there was nothing written saying, okay, hey, we understand you're entering this agreement because you can't pay it right now, and this is the payments you're going to make to avoid the property tax sale. Just as some people used to overpay their taxes. They go, okay, let me write this bigger check, that way I won't have a problem at the end. Sometimes that can work, but that also can backfire on people because the treasurer's office cannot hold money for people. So they will send that money back to you if you overpay. So this is the first step, again, to getting people to that point where we can make monthly payments, but we're starting with those that are delinquent first. Does that answer?
So actually, you don't wanna, like, get in that payment plan and say you get in a 2-year payment plan, and then all of a sudden, that next year, again, now you still gotta pay the full amount, so you're paying double.
So, yes, we don't want people getting into this cycle of payment plan. So a couple of things. One is, yes, make use of this to avoid the property tax sale if you cannot afford to make that payment all at once. Much like we did with our mortgages, when we have extra money, pay more so you can get in front of this because, again, this is accruing interest, right? So you want to keep decreasing that principal. And then 3, that's why you have housing counseling organizations like Neighborhood Housing Services that are here to actually work with you. And so we have counselors that will talk to you about what we call PITIE counseling. They look at your principal, they look at your interest, they look at your property taxes, they look at how much you're paying in insurance and how much you're paying in energy costs, meaning lights, gas, are you paying the lowest regulated rate? If you're a senior citizen, are you getting your sewer tax exemption? So those are all free for you guys. You just need to schedule an appointment with Neighborhood Housing Services. Okay? Yes, question. Yes. 3 years. Yep. Three years. And I totally didn't make the rule. I would give it to you if I could. All right. Any other questions? You guys were awesome. Thank you so much again for coming out. If you did not sign the sign-in sheet, please, please, please do, and make sure your email address is on there so we can send you the link to this recording.